A little hard to believe, but Minnesota still has not decided the outcome of its Senate race more than 6 months since Election Day. And the stakes now are higher than they've ever been. With the defection of Arlen Specter from the Republican Party, Minnesota's race takes on a whole new meaning. If Al Franken wins, he'll become the 60th Democratic senator, and the party will have a filibuster-proof majority, which would likely help President Obama get his Supreme Court nominee through, along with big initiatives like health care. Vice President Joe Biden met with Al Franken this week and said the administration looks forward to working with him once Minnesota's Supreme Court issues its final ruling. That's where this thing is tied up now. A three-judge panel ruled that Franken won the race, but Norm Coleman, the Republican, won't go away. He's asked for a recount of at least 1,300 ballots. Coleman's trailing Franken by 312 votes. Coleman's appeal could go all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, even though some in the Republican Party concede that it's not looking good for him. By all accounts, then, it seems likely Al Franken, a former comedian who appeared on Saturday Night Live and a former liberal radio host, will win. One Democratic consultant and a friend of Franken says it's ironic for a comedian to carry so much power. But quoting now, Franken is certainly comfortable with irony, unquote. So here's the question on a Friday evening. What does it mean that a comedian will determine the balance of power in the U.S. Senate? Go to cnn.com/Cafferty File. Post a comment on my blog.
Jack, thank you. Let's go back to Jack Cafferty for the Cafferty File. Getting hungry just hearing about the burgers, Jack.
What's that?
I'm getting hungry thinking about the burgers.
I just had a burger, actually, from a joint called Island Burgers here in New York. I had a big hamburger and a black and white milkshake, and I'm good to go for a few hours.
Quick question: mustard, ketchup, relish, tomatoes?
Relish, ketchup, raw onion, red raw onion, Swiss cheese, and cooked medium rare.
Beautiful.
It was excellent. Question this hour is, what does it mean that a comedian, we're talking about Al Franken in Minnesota, a comedian will determine the balance of power in the U.S. Senate? Stephen in New Jersey writes, if he was just a comedian, I'd be worried, but if you've read his books on politics and life in the U.S., you'd find that he has a good handle on what the problems of this nation are and what needs to be done to fix them. Behind all the jokes is a smart man. Chris in New York writes, well, Jack, I believe we need people from all walks of life in Congress. Too bad it doesn't happen very often. Also, most of the great comedians are pretty smart, so it's not a bad thing. Jim Carrey, Bill Cosby, Steve Martin, Will Ferrell, Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld, Ellen DeGeneres. They're all thinking people. Arlene in Illinois writes, I always thought of Congress as the Ringling Brothers of Washington, just without the funny noses. Lisa in Shelton, Connecticut, it means Franken will have intimate access to far better material than ever before. Stan in California, it's fine with me since 99% of comedians such as Jay Leno, Bill Maher, and Jon Stewart are far more intelligent than 99% of the politicians. Sarah Palin's a governor. Need I say more? Pat writes, don't forget he's a Harvard-educated comedian with a long-standing interest in politics. Billy writes, the Republican clowns didn't do so well. Time to try a Democratic comedian. Michael in Virginia says, I'd take a comedian over the jokers and thieves we have on Capitol Hill right now. It's time to fire all the appeal lawyers and give Minnesota their senator. And Sylvan writes, that's just great. A bodybuilder, a wrestler, now a comedian in office. All we need next is a grumpy, bald TV show host. If you didn't see your email here, you can go to my blog at cnn.com/Cafferty File. Look for yours there among hundreds of others. Wolf?
All right, Jack, thank you.